Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is February the 17th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday, happy Garfield Day. Hopefully you got that lasagna today. I'd say for me, I got a piece. Maybe not as big as I'd like, but overall, it's been a good day. Work was fine. It was overall pretty mildly paced, which we'll take. Picked up towards the end, but overall fine. Work was like, I don't want to say a highlight. I feel like that's not the right word. But we just had a good overall day and pace. I had no problems, no beef. Actually, I want to even add, in fact of having no beef, I feel like I squashed beef today, which was it was like, oh man, today's going really well. I had an issue with someone who was a friend, coworker kind of thing, and we kind of got a little distant, things of that nature. And we were two guys. And sometimes, hey, it can be hard to kind of mend fence. And sometimes the way you just do an olive branch is you bring up a hobby that you used to talk about, right? And that's what I did, and it worked out. And, we dudes rocked our way through it. Hopefully things are okay. I mean, is that the healthiest way of squashing and solving an issue? No. But, we do what we can, especially in a workplace. So yeah, I was kind of riding a little bit of a high. I thought things were good. And then I just got to the gym and it was just back to back to back, just stupid things happening. And I left the gym upset. I left irate. And it wasn't even all gym related. There's just kind of like a convergence of things all at once. For starters, it's really packed. There's a lot of people, a lot of machines are getting taken up. I get to the free weights area. I'm more or less just wrapping up. I have one more thing I need to do. I got the little the weighted barbell. I'm just gonna do some of those in front of the mirror where I was at, and we'll call it. As I was going to do that and come back, a guy just swoops in on my bench, asks the guy, "Hey, is anyone on here?" And before dude even says anything, he just keeps plopping it up. And I I just do the maniacal little chuckle thing, and I have my headphones in, so I'm not really even trying to have a fucking discussion about this, right? I get my phone and just proceed to move because I'm not trying to fucking deal with that. And this guy wants to be oh hey man, I'm sorry, my bad, I didn't know this was your machine, I didn't know this was your bench, you need it, I can move. And I say, nah, brother, you're good. And I laugh. Which is wrong, maybe. Maybe I'm a little too hot for that. Maybe I'm a little too hype. And I proceeded just to hit my shit. And I look up in the mirror. I see he's still trying to talk to me. He's like, hey, man, I can move. And I'm just like, brother, you got it, bro. And now I'm talking over my headphones, so I know I'm yelling, which I don't like, this is a busy area now. I just leave me alone. Leave me alone. So there's that. I'm already off kilter off of that now. I'm proceeding to get into my cardio phase of my night at the gym. We get through that. But throughout this, there was a post that comes up, and we're going to kind of get into it. It's going to tie into the news. And I proceed to see this comment that I just think is completely asinine and useless. So and I can't really engage with it the way that I want because I don't want to fucking make an argument or a big old fucking kerfuffle. So, there was that. That was an annoying little issue for me. And then I just had two conversations with just some friends that I'm just like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck are you on right now? And I had to really take stock of all of these moments. And, before I hit, press play on this, and I'm like, Isaiah, you really got to remind yourself that if you have too many of these little moments, especially in such a short time, maybe the problem isn't the world. Maybe the problem isn't this person, that person, that person. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's the man in the mirror. You know what I mean? And you just got to call it like it is sometimes. So, Sometimes you can just let a moment get the better of you, and that just is what it is. And there's maybe some egg on my face, but hey, it is what it is, and we keep it moving. I'm trying to find this balance of like when to crash out, when to not crash out, when to like do the diplomatic thing, when to like focus on conflict resolution, when to just say, hey, let a thing be because it's not that big a deal, and you're overthinking and you're being really weird and neurotic, and like give yourself like maybe some time, and you're gonna understand this was nothing, and you'll be fine. Don't make a wave. So life's a journey, no. But no, today was good. I don't want to really focus on just one point of my day and say, oh, day's bad. No, today was good. Today was a good day. And, I'm going to keep it that way. So there we go. So on that, let me talk food. We had a good food corner. Last night we made 2 bagel sandwiches, 1 chicken salad bagel, a spicy chicken salad bagel, which was good. Also, both of them were like covered with some cheese on top and bottom. So we had like cheese bagels. One, that one I put with cream cheese on it as like the main sauce base there. And then the other one was a Philly cheesesteak bagel, which I used some mayo. I felt like, keep it classy. And I even put on some nacho cheese on it. So there you go. Both were fire, both were fuego. And then I had a side of fries. So that was a banger meal. Kind of like how I was thinking with the spuds. I might do that again and again, run that back. I might have to, have bagel Sunday situation. I don't know. But, then I say this and then I'm mad that I gained like fucking so much weight. Like, it's always a struggle, man. It's always a fucking thing. I can't have nothing nice. You know what I mean? But no, I don't know. Overall, it was a good meal, and today was a good day. So we'll say things are solid. Like I said, I got a piece of lasagna, just not as big as I like. Anyway, we have a lot of news to cover. I mean, a decent amount of news. Hopefully, I get through it all right. Hopefully, I get through it at a decent clip. But let's go ahead and do our startup, and we'll get into the news. I think I could use it. I think I'm a little flustered. I'm a little high strung. Ugh. I will say though, one of the people who was talking to me, and I can just be frank as fuck on this situation. I know this person's not even gonna fucking listen, but they did one of those whack ass apologies, like, "Hey, sorry you got flustered." Like, what the fuck? That's some shit. That's some shit that makes me want to get a rock, bro. Like, don't apologize if you're gonna do a whack ass apology. Just don't do it. Like, if your shit is any kind of extra filigree or blah blah, you're gonna say some fucking diplomatic ass bullshit. Just don't say it. Yeah, you don't mean it. I'm not stupid. Sister. Anyway. All right. Our first story comes from CNN. 5 people in upstate New York charged with murder after allegedly killing Minnesota transgender man. 5 people have been arrested in New York and charged in connection with the disappearance and murder of a 24-year-old transgender man from Minnesota, who police say was tortured and abused for weeks before his death. New York State Police launched a missing persons investigation for Sam Nordquist on February 9th, following a welfare check request from his family, according to a news release Friday. Human remains believed to be those of Nordquist were discovered on February 13th in a field in Yates County, about 50 miles southeast of Rochester. Law enforcement officials then discovered evidence suggesting that Nordquist was subjected to ongoing physical abuse between December 2024 and February 2025, according to the release. Sam was subjected to repeated acts of violence and torture in a manner that ultimately led to his death, Captain Kelly Swift with the New York State Police said at a Friday news conference. His body was moved in an attempt to conceal the crime. Now, I think we're going to get to the people who did this, at least are who are allegedly suspected of doing it, I guess you should say here. Five people ranging in age from 19 to 38 have been arrested and charged with second-degree murder with depraved indifference, according to the release. Police identify the suspects as Precious Arzuaga. I'm sorry. Arzuaga. We're going to say Arzuaga, who I believe was the girlfriend of Sam Nordquist and who she was going to see for New Year's. And I believe I was listening to the ABC Start Here podcast, and there was a friend of Nordquist who said, hey, I got a chance to kind of interact with both of them, and there was just something about Precious that really rubbed me wrong. And I tried to tell Sam, like, hey, maybe this isn't the person, you know what I mean? But they wound up going, and it looks like that intuition was right, unfortunately. But you slap some allegedly or whatever. And also I'm paraphrasing that too. I might have gotten that a bit off. But yeah, Precious Arzaga, 38, Jennifer A. Quignano, 30, Kyle Sage, 33, Patrick A. Goodwin, 30, and Emily Motica, 19. Investigators are still working to understand the relationships between the five suspects and Nordquist. Also, I believe that this might have taken place like out of like a motel kind of area situation, but that's just something I kind of gathered from some other loose articles that I picked up throughout the weekend. When I initially heard this story, unfortunately, is through like the New York Post, and they just painted it in such a just a bad slanted way, and I feel like they're still going about it that way, but that is how the New York Post does. So I really wasn't sure how the story was going to develop. I'm glad that other media outlets have picked up on it, and they're giving more information, more details are coming out about this story. But yeah, sadly, none of the details are good. Let's see here. Suspects were arraigned Friday morning and are being held at Ontario County Jail without bail. Ontario County District Attorney Yami Ritz said at a news conference. Each suspect could face anywhere from 15 years to life in prison if convicted. Nordquist had a heart of gold and wouldn't hurt anybody. His mother, Linda Nordquist, told CNN affiliate KARE. Let's see. She described her son as a animal lover who worked at a home for vulnerable adults. According to CARE, he lived with his mother in Oakdale, Minnesota. Nordquist traveled to New York in September to meet an online girlfriend, according to a verified GoFundMe set up by his family. Nordquist's family and friends hadn't heard from him since January 1st, according to the fundraiser. Investigators haven't ruled out classifying the murder as a hate crime or making additional arrests, Swift said Friday. So yeah, this is some very upsetting shit. Also, as I was listening to Start Here, they were saying that with the Stonewall Memorial, which is, a whole thing, you gotta Google your history if you don't know that shit. But they are essentially on that memorial, in times where it's like, it just feels scarier and scarier to like be who you are and have your identity and claim it. Like they took out the trans part of that memorial, which is crazy. Once again, if you know what took place at, the Stonewall riot situation and all that, like it's crazy to say, oh, that part, that's a bit too, you don't need to talk about that part. We got the gay stuff. That's enough. It's like, no, dude, like you got to tell the whole story on these things. And I know I'm taking this story and segueing into some other shit here, but it is mindful that all these things are kind of happening all at once in the Trump administration. There's so much going on. And to just chip at these kind of things and just try to just do this erasure, like, no, man, people are not going to forget. And it's crazy to say that you can just have the memorial without telling the whole story on it. That shit's frustrating. And it makes me worry where you have these kind of situations where it's like, clearly something like this was a hate crime. To me, the more I feel like the details that are going to come out of this shit, I feel like the harder that's going to be to ignore. But I feel like with the political climate and all this kind of fucking shit, it becomes a thing that you have to be like, well, can we run that? Will it actually hold up in court? Will that be a thing? Like, these are things that we shouldn't have to think about, especially in a quote unquote as modern time as we are, as like this peak, apex of society as Americans or whatever the fuck. It shouldn't be like this, but here we are. So yeah, I wanted to start off with this. I know I'm not doing the story justice as I do, but it was important to just to start off at the top. And also, once again, to make this dumb, to make this about me, which I know I shouldn't fucking do. That's dumb of me. But another thing that had just pissed me off was, I posted about this story on Facebook, Mark's app, whatever, Meta, whatever. And someone had posted, why are people sad? We should be fighting. Da 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 da. And it's like, dude, okay, cool. Why don't you actually suggest some kind of form of fighting that would actually be effective? What are you saying? It's like people want to do like grease cycles just right on the fucking timeline. And it's like, dude, don't do that. Don't do that on my fucking page, dude. I just got rid of that person. I just unfriended them because I just wasn't in the mood. I wasn't in the place for that. Like, no, share that shit and then put that in your own thing. You can do that yourself. You don't need to yell at me and my friends over that shit. If we're fucking friends, shit like that doesn't make sense to me. And I know this sounds very crazy and very online, but that was something that bothered me. And it always bothers me when I see that shit. When I see people who are quote unquote liberal or leftist and they just immediately get so mad about a situation that they just yell at their peers. They just yell at the people who are going through the shit with them. And I boggles my mind how that's supposed to be fucking effective. It just doesn't make fucking sense, dude. So, like I said, all these things were just kind of just bubbling in me. So, I wanted to at least talk about the story, and also one of the things that just made me mad, and it just gets under my fucking skin to just see people do that. It's not effective. Like, I'd much rather sit down and have a real conversation about doing some kind of fucking organization or something, but not that. You just want to be mad. You just want to be mad at your people. Cool. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm gonna take a water break. We're off to a bad start. This is why I'll forever be an amateur. Anywho, we got a Ziz update, and y'all know I've been kind of chomping at the bit to talk about this shit. So here we go. From the Associated Press. Police arrest apparent leader of cult-like Zizian group linked to multiple killings in the U.S. The apparent leader of a cult-like group known as the Zizians has been arrested in Maryland along with another member of the group, Maryland State Police said. Jack Lasota, 34 years old, was arrested Sunday along with Michelle Zacco, 33, of Media, Pennsylvania. They face multiple charges, including trespassing, obstructing and hindering, and possession of a handgun in the vehicle. Also, hold on 1 second. I know this is a bit of a beep, 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 breaking news thing. Also, there was another person who was arrested. Daniel Blank, 26, was arrested alongside Zacco and Lasota. I'm getting that from USA Today. I had to pull that from my phone, and I put my phone away as I went into my rant. I was like, why is this phone on my face? Anyway, so this is a big development. I know, just a quick recap. The Zizians have been tied to the killing of U.S. Border Patrol agent David Milland near the Canadian border in California, and 5 other homicides in Vermont, Pennsylvania, and California. We talked about the California part with Chris Lind, who is a landlord. Essentially, there were some people who were more or less in this kind of web of this group, and they were squatting on Lind's land. And initially, I think this took place around COVID, so he was kind of like trying to be cool about it or whatever. But then eventually it just got to a point, enough time went by, he says, hey, like, I kind of gotta get this rent, or you guys gotta get out of here. And they stabbed him. And then they wind up later on coming up to finishing the job. So all this shit is connected. There's this whole ass fucking weave here, and it is more or less surrounding Jack LaSoda. Also, it's important to note Jack LaSoda identifies as a woman, so she. Just for the record, and if I get that wrong, my bad, mea culpa in advance. But let me go to my highlighted portion, because it does a lot of the heavy lifting for me in terms of just giving a little bit of light into this in a better, less ranty way for me. At the middle of all this is Ziz, who appears to be the leader of the strange group members who call themselves Zizians. She has been seen near multiple crime scenes and has connections to various suspects. Also, I believe at some point she might have been like trying to stay out at sea or something, but then the circumstances at B prompted her to come back to land, and thus more murder activity kind of went down. But let me continue. I'm also just kind of freeballing this from what I've learned from various sources. I think mainly a lot from TrueAnon, which I gotta give a big shout out to TrueAnon. But yes, LaSoda published a dark and sometimes a violent blog under the name Ziz, and in one section described her theory that two hemispheres of the brain could hold separate values and genders, and often desire to kill each other. So they had a way of saying, and not just Ziz, but this like them matriculated down across the group, that killing for certain reasons was okay. Like there are some things like I think it was like there is good and then not good. Like evil is like a blah blah construct. It's not like real or whatever. But essentially, this logic really doesn't get applied because all the people that they wind up killing, it just kind of is like random. Like, unless you're just saying like, well, you're kind of against us in this moment, so you can die. You just deserve to die then. It's fine. It's justified. Or we don't care. It's like we're under a different thing. We're trying to make sure that... And I'm not sure if they're trying to serve Rocco's basilisk, which is like this future AI that's supposed to be taking us over and knows everything and is all being, it's like Skynet, but like spiritual. And like, okay, cool, but like you're helping it or you're helping us. Like I don't really know the flow there. I'm not there, but there's a whole lot of other vegan stuff that's also into this, like, and then there's also like some anarchy kind of vibes that get in, and I feel like that's why everyone just kind of like eye rolls it and goes, oh, this is like some leftist stuff. And I'm like, no, when you really get into it, none of this shit's really leftist. Like, you can say it's vegan. I used a term in a previous episode. Some of these people, they go by vegan Sith. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? But none of that is leftist. Like, there's nothing organized about this. They are trying to fight computers, my guy. They're doing Office Space when you look at it. Like, this isn't leftist. So that does kind of irk me, but I will settle for like anarchists, because like they do have like a lot of just kind of ping, bop, boom, bam notions. But believe it or not, anarchists can actually get some shit together, and it does make sense. But most people are way too crusty to even do that. They just want to break shit. They just want to fuck around, and they just think it's like a free space lifestyle. That's not a thing. But okay, anyway, I'm in the weeds about this shit, but I'm actually glad I get to actually talk about it. LaSoda, who used she/her pronouns in her writings, says she is a transgender woman, railed against perceived enemies, including so-called rationalist groups, which operate mostly online and seek to understand human cognition through reason and knowledge. Some are concerned with potential dangers of artificial intelligence. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know exactly where LaSoda lands on this shit, where it's like, are you doing the things that you're doing to like almost in like an accelerationist way to like aid it because you think this is like the superior thing you're gonna work for? Or are you doing what you're gonna do because you're gonna like, I don't know, Game of Thrones beat this shit? I don't know. I'm not that plugged in to this, okay? But yeah, Jack LaSoda, 34 years old. We're the same age. That's crazy. I'm just having that I'm just having that realization now. So, there you go. You can start a cult. You can start a podcast. You can do whatever you want. But hey, don't murder. Don't do that. Don't do that. I think, call me crazy, call me biased. You could just yap for fun, you know. And maybe I don't like the clickety clackety of if you want to be a keyboard type of yapper, you know, not my thing. Sometimes, most times, you know, I like to speak on it. But hey, do that. Don't get to murdering. Don't do that. If you want to make a group of friends online in your local Discord, that's all good. Just don't do the Lesotho shit. Don't do the Jack Teixeira shit. Don't. Just be cool. Just be relaxed. Just have fun. Maybe play a game. You know, there's so many free ones. Perhaps Marvel Rivals. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm being dumb. I'm trying to add levity. Let's move on. This is a bit of a zigzaggy episode. We're going all over the place. From ABC News, U.S. prisoner Caleb. I didn't pronounce this before. Whatever. Caleb Bryers freed in Russia. Kremlin confirms. So we got more prisoner releases. I don't know if it's a swap yet. We'll see. Caleb Bryers, the 28-year-old American citizen detained in Russia on drug smuggling charges earlier this month, has been released from detention. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told Russia's RBK news agency on Monday. We also expect that on Tuesday we will be able to talk about restoring the entire range of Russian-American relations, Peskov said. Accordingly, certain events can be viewed in this context. Breyer's mother posted on social media on Sunday that she believed Caleb had already been released to the American embassy in Moscow. She told ABC News she believes he'll be on a flight to the U.S. on Monday. So this is developing some new shit. While we're on the subject, though, we're talking about Russia-American relations. It does look like the Saudi Arabia thing is a go. I was looking while I was at the gym, I saw like CNN was on, and I saw Marco Rubio, which I gotta add, whoever's doing his makeup right now, fix that. He looks way too rosy. He looks like a little doll boy. But it looks like we're doing some diplomatic relations. Something I didn't mention that I guess took place last week. The whole Munich conference or whatever. JD Vance like blew up the spot. He was saying some mean shit to Europeans. They were not happy. They're like, yeah, man, he was like, yeah, you know, you gotta let free speech happen. You gotta let the AFD in. You gotta let these fucking Nazis fucking do their thing. Let them cook. Let them cook. He, you know, put a lot of onus on Europe to, not be so woke, more or less. I don't know. It was some bullshit. He made some waves. Also, though, it does look like there are going to be conversations about the fate of Ukraine between America and Russia. Maybe Ukraine. We're not quite sure if they're going to make it to the table, but no Europe. For sure. Boo. Stinky Europe. No. That is what the Trump administration is saying. That is what the Kremlin is saying. So there's that. So I guess we're potentially getting peace talks, but they're not the peace talks that anyone was expecting. I guess. Like this does not surprise me, right? This is Trump style bullshit. He's like, yeah, no, I like Putin. Putin likes me. We'll figure this shit out. Since you guys couldn't while Biden was in power, I'll do it myself. That sounds right. That sounds right on. Par of the course, at least. You know what I mean? Do I agree with it? Of fucking course not. But apparently Europe is scrambling. They had some like emergency meeting, I believe, today or something to that effect, where they're like, what am I gonna do? What's the plan? Zelensky's come up with some shit. There was a drone strike which was believed from Russia that hit Chernobyl. That was kind of crazy, but everything's okay. It just hit like a shield and fucked it up. Not like on some Halo shit. I know I said that. But like it was like some protective shield over like a radiated thing. And but the levels are good. Anyway, that's a quick little sidebar there. I wasn't expecting to talk about that, but I got possessed by news. Why not? All right, we're going to take a water break, and then we're going to cover some plane news. We're going to talk about some airline news. Wow, so fun. Actually, I need this. I need to power down. All right. I say power down, but I mean, this is kind of some scary shit, you know? From CBS News. Delta plane flips upside down after crash landing in Toronto. What the fuck is going on in Canada? No. Multiple people are injured after a Delta Airlines plane flipped upside down while landing amid wintry conditions Monday at Toronto Pearson International Airport. The FAA, or the Federal Aviation Administration, says 80 people were aboard Flight 4819, which originated from Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. According to Deborah Flint, president and CEO of Toronto Pearson International Airport, the plane was carrying four crew and 76 passengers, among them 22 Canadians. The other passengers were multinational. Let's see. Airport emergency workers mounted a textbook response, reaching the site within minutes and quickly evacuating the passengers, Flint said during a news conference Monday night. Officials say at least 17 passengers have been taken to local area hospitals. Peel Regional Paramedic Services confirmed to CBS News that out of those injuries, one child and two adults are critically injured. The rest of the injuries are minor to moderate, officials said. So I gotta say here, that is a miracle in and of itself. Obviously, thoughts, prayers, all those things to the people involved in this. Obviously, I hope everyone, pulls out of this okay, especially the critically injured. But the fact that you have a plane that you're seeing the picture of it upside down, they're like hosing it off and all this shit. I don't know how people are walking away from it like that. That's, hey, maybe people are going to be mad at me for saying it's a miracle. That's a miracle. That's crazy. I don't know how else to word it. That's wild. I'm at least happy to bring that news up. But let's see here. I don't have details on what caused this yet. So I definitely want to circle back to potentially what was the reasoning. Maybe it was some kind of weather thing or something like that. I say this but let me stop myself. The Association of Flight Attendants, or the Flight Attendants CWA, issued the following statement. AFA crew were working this flight. Reports are there are no fatalities. Please do not speculate on this incident as everyone works to gather information and support those involved. So there we go. I'm not even, let me throw my speculation hat in the corner. Like, fuck it. Once again, I'm glad that everyone's A-okay here. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's another flight story, man. But if I get any details, for sure, I want to come back to this story. No doubt. But yeah, we're going to close out with less dramatic news, but this is definitely upsetting to me. But yeah, we're going to stick to the airlines. Taking a Southwest, ABC 8. There you go. I'm doing all my pre-up here. Let me go ahead and take my last break, though, and we'll close it out. Oh, boy. I want to give a special shout out to any of the listeners. This isn't your first time listening to me crash out over some stupid blah blah. And then proceeding to jackknife into poorly explaining news and then making it anecdotal to my shitty life. I want to thank ya because, you didn't have to do that, obviously. You tuning into this whole thing, that's crazy. You're a real doll for that. Whoever, wherever you are. Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right. Southwest Airlines announces sweeping layoffs at Dallas headquarters, the first mass layoffs in company history. I guess you got to break a record every once in a while, huh? Fuck. For the first time in nearly its 58-year history, Southwest Airlines announced it will be laying off hundreds of workers at its Dallas headquarters. On Monday, the airline announced it will be laying off 1,750 employees at the company's Dallas Love Field HQ. The number equates to around 15% of Southwest corporate positions. Among those 1,750 1,750 employees. I can say it right. 11 senior leadership positions were eliminated as a result of restructuring. Don't like how that sounds. The announcement comes amid a flurry of changes for the Dallas-based airline. Southwest is in the midst of a board shakeup and an aggressive effort to reduce cost. And what better way to reduce costs than to just say, cut the weight? That's insane. Like, these are people's lives. And you're just like, yeah, but they're just numbers to us. And we need to get to budgeting. So maybe we finally just, get with it and just make some head roll. But yeah, Southwest has also recently announced sweeping changes to its service, including eliminating open seating and offering red-eye flights. So to me, this sounds like you're just going to be making people work more with less. Like, you're going to have less people. I imagine, though, they are definitely going to be hiring new people at a, thus cheaper rate than the people at top that you're cutting out, of course. But this doesn't seem like it's actually going to save you that much money, but it's just a move that's going to help make your stock numbers go up and, be better for your bottom lines along the way. We'll read a quote from this guy, this fucking CEO fucker or whatever. This decision is unprecedented in our 53-year history, and change requires that we make difficult decisions. We are at a pivotal moment as we transform Southwest Airlines into a leaner, faster, and more agile organization. President, CEO, and Vice Chairman of the Board of Directors, Bob Jordan, said in a statement, I arrived at the decision thoughtfully and carefully, knowing how hard it will be to say goodbye to our colleagues who have been a significant part of our Southwest culture and Southwest culture and accomplishments. I'm grateful to all Southwest employees who have shared in our legendary history and to those that will guide us into the next era of Southwest Airlines. Blech. According to Southwest, the move will save the company around $300 million annually moving forward. So, wow. What a cool cost cut. That's so great. I will say the only thing I'll give fucking Bob Jordan credit before I chuck a tomato at his fucking head is that at least he didn't do that family shit. I hate that shit. I hate when they get all teary and misty-eyed when they're like, and you guys are like just family, and I just can't believe we have to do this to you. As they fucking collect their bonus at the end of the fucking year. So, to the people that are, getting a new job and having to reshuffle their lives, I know that shit is not easy. That shit is fucking rough. And it's something I see at my own fucking company. Despite the fact that we're like fucking family, we don't do the mass layoffs. I just noticed that when the shit gets slow, heads start rolling. So, that just is what it is at a lot of fucking places. And it is always sad to see these companies do these bottom line cuts so that, everyone can make the most money that they can fucking make. While, people like you or I are just doing what they can to fucking survive. Whew. So let's call it a Monday. Let's say that's it. Let's say that's the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow me on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Those are cool keys that help out a lot. Help out the algorithm. I do hear TikTok is back. I think you can actually get it on the marketplace or whatever. You can try that. You can get it back. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, looks like it's here to stay. Almost looks like it really wasn't a fucking problem and they were just fucking making up some bullshit because they just needed to kick a football around. Anyway, that's a whole other episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.